John, how are you feeling? It's been a long wait, but finally, only a couple more days.
Yeah, it has been a long wait. It's been pre-season Mark 2. So it's interesting. I was talking to Josh Kennedy about it the other day, and he said he's done an extra pre-season. So he's really looking forward to getting the season up and running. Yeah, it's exciting for the players, for the staff, and for the fans to be able to see the football start again this week.
How's everyone
Yeah, good. It's they're like everyone else, I guess. Everyone's excited for the season to start again. It's been a short build up, and the players are really looking forward to it. Just getting out there and competing, and obviously in the past over a pre-season you have the opportunity to play practice games and get your game going, but clearly that's not the case this week. You're straight into it, and so we're sort of looking forward to that, but knowing that we'll have to be prepared.
A fair bit of unknown in it all because of that, John. The fact that you don't have a game recently to cross-check against.
Yeah, it's like that for everyone, I guess. Everyone's in the same boat. They're not really sure about what it looks like, other than the fact that what you do know is that the things that normally stand up in AFL footy will still stand up this week. So you just got to make sure that you're switched on to those things in your game that are really important to you, and Essendon will be no different.
I was reading this morning there's some discussion that Queensland could get some fans back. I think they're saying about 1,000 or so. Would that make it? Would that make it a bit of a disadvantage if we can't have them here and they can have them up there?
Well, I'm not sure whether we might be a chance too. I'm not sure what that looks like. They're still to yet make a decision on that. So, my personal view is that as soon as we get fans back, the better. No matter where they start to come back in, I think that'd be great for supporters. We'll have to wait and see what the AFL decide upon, but the sooner the better, obviously, to get supporters back to the game.
How are you looking fitness-wise, John?
Look, we're looking okay. We'll find out a bit more this week. We've got our main training session will be on Thursday, so we'll see how our team looks like. We had a practice hit out on Friday, so Michael Knoll did his PCL, which is unfortunate for him, so he'll be out for a few weeks, and Naismith's a little bit tight in his hamstring, so we'll see how the week pans out and see what the team looks like on Thursday.
It's been a bit of bad luck as last week as well, buddy.
Yeah, it's something that we unfortunately anticipated during this period. Is I'm sure a lot of the teams are the same. That when you get back into the full swing of things, there's a reason that you have weights programs and strength programs and different things set up to make sure that your team's as strong and resilient as possible. And when you get a 3-week lead in, whilst they've been training at home, generally they've been training at home in home gyms, and it's just not the same. So certainly not something that we didn't anticipate. But generally the squad's in pretty good shape.
Do you think it is that time period where you're not around the club and you're not getting the exact training programs that you used to?
Well, there's a reason why we do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. And I guess there's a reason why we've done it for years, and there's a reason why we listen to the experts. But everyone's in the same boat, and every team will have their challenges in that space. And we've just got to make sure that the team that we put out is in generally pretty good shape, and we're confident they will be. We think we've got through, if we get through this week, in reasonable shape.
What is the latest on Buddy? When do you think he'll be back? Is there still a fair few weeks away?
Yeah, that's not something that we've is on our immediate radar at the moment. He's a number of weeks away, so we're looking at the teams that can help us at the moment.
You had a fair bit of practice in setting up your forward line without Buddy last year, but you had Sam Reid for most of that too. How difficult is it, I guess, to find the right balance without those two in particular?
Yeah, we'll just go in and we've had some time to look at it without those two, but not a lot of time without the complete both of them. So it's a little bit different, but we're really confident in a couple of the young key forwards we've got in that part of the ground. Whether it's McCartan, Blakey, Heaney, those guys. We think we've got some speed up there. We've got the ability to be able to compete in the air as well. So we're confident that we'll be able to provide a real target for our boys in the middle of the ground if we get enough inside 50s, and that'll be the challenge. We've got to try and match Essendon around that middle of the ground. They've got a very good midfield brigade, and they play a really, really quick style of footy, so we've got to be mindful of that.
Isaac, your real wild card up forward. I mean, he's played a fair bit there, 4 goals I think it was in round 1, and a bit of talk at the moment about how much more he can improve from what he's already performed at AFL level.
Well, it's about Isaac, but it's also about all the others. He's an important player for us, but it's always about the the forward group as a whole. You normally have 7 or 8 players rotate through that forward line. He's an important part of it. We know he gives us a contest, but others are important as well. Haywood and those guys, McCartan, a young forward group, it gives them a real opportunity now to put their stamp on it, and I'm sure we'll see that, and it mightn't happen every minute of every game, but we're confident that young brigade up there, if we give them enough opportunities, will be able to hit the scoreboard.
Have you got anything locked in for the guys who don't get picked to play AFL level this weekend?
Yeah, we're sort of working through that to have a bit of a hit out with GWS. It's obviously imperative that next group coming forward that aren't part of the senior team still get exposed to some sort of competitive level of football, and without that reserves competition in, it's something that the AFL are really conscious of. So it's important for those guys to have a hit out as well, not only to be able to put their hand up for senior selection, but also to those guys that want to continue to be on the list going forward as well. It's important for those guys to have an outlet and be able to get out there and perform.
What would that sort of look like? Will it be ref or just coaches, or?
We're still working through that. As this whole thing, where we've got to be agile and work through that. It'd just be like a practice match type scenario, but the details are still working through that.
John, last year you had a number of really experienced players retire. Have you seen a difference in your group this year? Like, is there sort of sense more responsibility being taken on by some of those guys who are maybe that next level?
Yeah, we had those guys last year retire, and whilst they had a lot of experience, the 4 of them, over 1,000 games of experience, they didn't play a lot of footy last year, so we had a bit of a window into that last year as well. Those younger guys underneath showing a bit more responsibility, and we've seen that develop again over the summer. And once you take those 4 out of the locker room, there's always ones underneath that come through, and that's the benefit of that. Whilst you lose the benefit of experience and enormous experience in those guys, there's always some come through if you give them the opportunity. We've seen that so far, but we need to. We've got the rest of the season to get into when it's under real pressure as far as getting tested week in, week out, and when performance is on the line, that's part of it as well. And I'm sure we'll see those guys develop.
As 4 weeks of training, is that enough to prepare for an AFL game?
Or not in an ideal situation, but we know it's far from ideal, and we know that everyone's in the same boat. So we'll get on with it, and we've been able to get ourselves in the condition that we think we're right and ready to go to compete. But we need to make sure that we do that on the weekend. I'm sure every team's the same. Every team's in the same boat. So from that position, everyone starts from scratch. When the siren goes on Thursday night, everyone gets going again, and we'll see how it goes.